My name is Allison Carruth. I'm a professor at UCLA in the Department of English, and there I am also affiliated with the Institute of the Environment and Sustainability, the Institute for Society and Genetics, and the Center for the Study of Women. And I do a lot of research on the role that writers and artists play in contemporary environmental movements, particularly around food.
And I'm Jenny Price, and I do public humanities and arts. This year I'm actually the visiting professor in environmental humanities at the Princeton Environmental Institute, and I am also a research scholar at the Center for the Study of UCLA Center for the Study of Women. Do you want to talk about our project a little bit? Okay, yeah. So our project is our collective. We have a public humanities and arts collective called Project 51, and the Los Angeles River, our beautiful concrete Los Angeles River, that flows through the heart of LA County, is 51 miles long, and that's where it takes its, our group takes its name. We formed it in order to really do massive public outreach on the LA River, and we are doing that with a big project called Play the LA River, which we are now bound to launch in September 14th of this year.
And the project, the Play the LA River project, came out of a group of 6 people that includes artists, designers, a public historian, an urban planner, a couple of scholars like me and Jenny who work on public humanities and the environmental humanities. And as a group, we formed this collective Project 51 with the aspiration of launching this Play the LA River project, and it was in many ways Jenny's initial brainchild, and we've collaborated since last spring on a kind of framework and a set of goals. We've reached out to all different kinds of groups that are involved with the LA River, from arts groups to the state park and local parks, and the list really goes on. And maybe, Jenny, you might say a little bit more about who the kind of core members of the project are and who some of our collaborators are.
Yeah, well, first maybe I'll talk a little bit about the premise of the project and why we're doing it. It's a little bit crazy, so why are we doing this? The Play the LA River, or would you rather talk about our collaborators first?
I think maybe let's first talk about the underlying premise and what it is we're going to be launching in September of 2014.
So the reason that we are doing Play the LA River is that there's a huge project to revitalize the LA River. It's not just one project, it's a lot of projects. It's been going on really since about the mid-'80s, but it's been accelerating quite a bit since about 2000. And I think it's one of to revitalize the LA River, the paving and concreting of the LA River is really deeply implicated in ways that we won't really go into, but in most of the problems that Los Angeles is notorious for, environmental, social, etc. And the revitalization of the river, many people see as being really far more than just about the river. In fact, not even primarily about the river, but it's really about envisioning a more sustainable and equitable future for LA. Creating this big green spine through the heart of Los Angeles, which will clean up the water, provide park space, especially in the communities that have been deprived of park space for decades. It will do all kinds of wonderful things for Los Angeles, and it's really about the future of LA. The problem that I saw as someone who was working on the LA River for a long time and leading tours of the LA River and doing communication about this is that it is, in fact, right now a massive civic re-engineering project with, hundreds of millions of dollars and every conceivable public player and private player. At the same time, most people in LA still don't know that it's happening. So what we like to say in our group is that this massive civic act of re-engineering, in order to be successful, also require a massive civic act of reimagination. Because not only do people not know it's happening, but they don't know where the LA River is. The LA River has long been invisible in this city. And so our project is really a kind of massive public outreach project to try to convene really tens of thousands of people over the course of the year. Our project will last for 51 weeks to come to the banks of the LA River to celebrate the LA River. And do you want to tell them a little bit about how we're going to do that? Also?
Yeah, there are 3 components, and the central component of this project, and it's what really excites me about it and what drew me to it as a scholar invested in the public humanities, particularly around environmental change and sort of urban environmentalism, was a card deck, a vision of a guide, a new kind of guide to the LA River that invites this sort of reimagining that Jenny was describing through whimsy, through play, and through a kind of celebration of a space that has often been maligned in popular culture and in policy. And so we will be developing this card deck. It will have 52 cards. It will be a playable card deck. Each card will be a very brief sort of introduction to one of 52 sites along and near the LA River. Most of the sites are actually along the LA River, and we divided this card deck into 4 suites that correspond to the 4 main geographical stretches of the river from the headwaters to the mouth in Long Beach. And so these sites, some of them are sites that are becoming more familiar to certain publics, certain communities, like the areas through the Glendale Narrows. Others are sites that are difficult to play at, and so we are trying to imagine how we invite diverse communities to come to the banks of the river and do things ranging from salsaing and staging food truck festivals to a game of pickup soccer and kayaking, singing together a cappella, or playing a game of telephone. So, yeah. Go ahead, Jenny. Do you want to add anything about the card deck?
It's an invitation. It's a call to all Angelinos and anybody else who wants to come to the LA River over the course of the year to play. And in any way, sing, dance, picnic. We expect people to play in ways that we had never even imagined. We hope we'll have symphony orchestras down there. We hope we'll have people just tuning on their ocarinas down there. And a lot of it will just be self-programmed. People will just have this card deck, which we will distribute for free, and say, oh, let's go check out this site this weekend. Let's bowl, or let's bring the chess board, or whatever. Or they can actually play cards using our card deck. And then we're also doing a lot of programming. And that gets to, back to our collaborators. This project is so deeply collaborative with all of the current players on the LA River, all the public agencies, all the nonprofits, all the communities along the river that have been active. And it also we're reaching out to all kinds of communities also that maybe haven't been involved so much in river revitalization up to this point.
And I'll just elaborate. So we have the first component of the project is this playful guide in the form of a card deck to 52 sites along the LA River. The second component is a pretty ambitious sort of year of programming, but the way we've structured that is to have a major public launch event in September and a sort of capstone event at the end of the year in the following September, interspersed by smaller scale events that we hope will be self-organizing. And so we have formed a really dynamic, exciting programming committee that consists of artists, natural historians, architects, others I'm forgetting here, Jenny, in that programming group, performance artists.
They're hot. They're great.
Yeah, they're wonderful, and so they are expanding our reach out to artist communities, activist communities, and the public agencies at all sort of levels in order to create a structure and a framework for this year of programming. And that would just bring us to the third component of the project, which is a website that offers both a virtual and mobile version of our guide to the river and a structure for both organizing events under the Play the LA River rubric with communities ranging from 2 people to 2,000 people, and also a structure for sharing the things that people begin to do on the river during the year of programming, letting sort of all sorts of posts, if you will, Facebook posts and Twitter tweets and so forth, fly around with people's experience of how they're playing and experiencing the LA River.
Yeah, and then also we very much see this as a project that, there's a lot of people doing public outreach on the river now. Who are doing wonderful creative things like Friends of the LA River Revitalization Corps, Metabolic Studio is doing a massively creative set of projects around the Centennial Aqueduct, the Centennial of the Los Angeles Aqueduct. So we very much see this as a project that both we can plug into other people's projects and they can plug into us. So for example, MRCA, Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority, which has a few parks on the river and does campfire programs, they've already said, oh, well, maybe we could do some Play the LA River events at our campfires. So we very much see this as we'd like to just put this out there, and then we are talking to all kinds of people about, well, either we will, collaborate with you directly, or you can just use this, as a way to, as this kind of umbrella if you want to create your own event. And so what we're hoping is, at the very least, we're hoping to see a lot of people on the river over the course of the year. At best, we're hoping that it will become a really well-known, it will go viral, essentially, and that people will be, going to the river all the time and posting. We will have, thousands and thousands of these video pictures of people playing on the LA River.
One thing I would share about this project, which is a public humanities and arts project, but one that really is informed by and in collaboration with the policy work that's been happening for so long and continues to be unfolding along the river, as well as a very sort of diverse group of activists, organizations, and artist groups as well, of course. But one of the things I've learned through this process is both the excitement in collaborating with such diverse constituents and communities and opening up a kind of somewhat chaotic instrument for public engagement. And also the challenges of that. There are so many different groups with different histories and visions of the LA River, and often there's synergy and collaboration, but sometimes there's conflict. So I think one of our goals has been to really just create a platform for play and for enjoyment and for community along the river that can be inclusive of a lot of different histories and visions for what the LA River is and might be.
Yeah, and I would say that, what is public humanities, and it's just the insistence, I think, that the humanities is not only useful but necessary for engagement in public life and for engagement of really key public issues. And so I think that in a group like this, what happens is that our humanities training, we have people in our group who, about half of us are actually professors. I'm not really, I'm a fake professor, but we have some real professors in our group, and we bring that training into this, to the design and designing and carrying out this project in ways that we think are invisible, basically, when the project goes live and out there, but that are enormously important to, hopefully, the success of the project. For example, this project relies very, very deeply on an analysis of the LA River and of its role, past, present, and future, in Los Angeles, which is sort of deeply informed by our training in history and cultural analysis and environmental justice and social analysis. I think it relies deeply on ideas about play and the importance of play. It plugs into we are relying on our understanding of the importance of diversity in this city.
And I'll just add one final thought to Jenny's really, rich kind of definition of public humanities in that comment, which is, often within the academy, the humanities sort of defines its mission and its work as a kind of mode of critique and also a mode of history writing and historiography, a mode of telling stories about the past and also turning a really critical eye on not only the past but also the present and sort of its various sort of formulations. And one of the things that has been really exciting and interesting about this project for me is to think about the public humanities as being actually a bridge between those modes and methods of critique and of history. And this mode of play we're trying to sort of loosely structure for communities in Los Angeles. And I think for the public humanities to be a site of kind of exchange between critique and play is really rich and potential.
And I think where we've basically hit a moment where, we've just seen the rise of the term environmental humanities, which is just sort of exploding in the last few years. And I think, this new report, this federal report about the decline of humanities and the dangers therein, and I think we are operating, we are doing this project in a moment where the humanities are really insisting on their importance to, addressing these challenges that we have. And I think that at the same time, and I think this speaks to what Allison just said, that I think when you do public humanities or public arts, that you have to have the confidence to leave the jargon on the floor and to leave the overt analysis on the floor. I think that our project is deeply informed by humanities, by sort of the methods and insights of the humanities, including theory and history and historiography. And at the same time, I don't think that any of that will be apparent to people who come and want to tango on the LA River. And I think I feel like that's exactly as it should be, that that sort of structure becomes invisible in many ways once the project actually goes live. But I think that at the same time that you have part of the problem, I think, with the humanities not venturing out for so long, as much as I think people are doing now, is that you do have to have the confidence, I think, that to leave that kind of academic markers, in the academy. Does that make sense, Allison?
Yeah, and I just want to say, one of the things that I've been really struck with in our work so far and in our collaborations is just how receptive people are to this project. People who are coming from fields like public policy, people who work in City Hall, work for state parks, work for a nonprofit like or a joint power authority like MRCA, the Federal Urban Watershed Program, which is really active here in Los Angeles and has an incredible steward at the helm of it named Pauline Louie. So we're meeting with a lot of people who are in fields like public policy and also, practicing artists as well. And I've been really struck with how receptive, and I think it is because we've worked really hard as a group to be deeply informed by our various training, but to also then have a very light touch with that in terms of how we articulate and envision this project and execute this project.
Yeah, and by the same token, I would say I've been really impressed with, as someone who's technically outside of academia actually, with how receptive people have been within the academy to this project, which I did not necessarily expect, because when you look at this project, it doesn't necessarily have the markers on the surface that this is, a project that is informed by theory and analysis. And so I've been really impressed and grateful and pleased that we've had so much enthusiasm among, people inside the university.
That was actually the final point I wanted to be sure to make today, which is, that has just been inspiring to me, that both at UCLA, at my home institution, and across the University of California system, there's been, including, of course, this really fundamental, important grant we received from UCHRI, there has been such enthusiasm and support for this project, and I'm really grateful for that. And I think it actually speaks to this broader energy right now within the humanities and within the academy for making bridges to the public and to various publics, and that's really encouraging, and I think bodes very well. So I don't know, is there anything else, Jenny, you want to add about the project? I feel like we did a fairly thorough job of introducing it.
Everybody will come out and play on the LA River.
Exactly.
Do that not just once, but many times.
Thank you both so much. Please, as soon as you have materials that you would like to share with people, I'm sure, especially after seeing this, that they'll be anxious to kind of see the card deck and to get out there and to use it. So feel free. We're happy to share the word or spread the word as much as we can. And I just wanted to thank you both for your really thoughtful comments on public humanities.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you both so much.
Mm-hmm.